Alright, so it's February 20th and sometime 7, 8 in the evening. And I wrote a little something inspired by my cravings because my cravings were just hitting me hard, really hard. And yeah, just to the point, making me want to eat. And it's just so wild because I'm finally sitting with these things and I'm actually acknowledging them and sitting with them, feeling them out, letting them rise and just experience of being just highly observant of it all and and then processing it through, addressing it. And it's quite an experience. Like, it's pretty wild because I can tell I've never done this because it's a whole experience. It's a whole experience that I realized before I was constantly running away from by distractions. And yeah, constantly with distractions, because it's not like these cravings come and I immediately go and distract myself. Um, and yeah, so I'll start reading this. Cravings, cravings, craving hard right now. What will eating a cooked meal do for me? Because it's one of those, I'll do it, then right back on juice. Yeah, here, let me restart, sorry. Craving hard right now. What will eating a cooked meal do for me? Because it's one of those, I'll eat it, then right back on juice. Those one more times will never fulfill the desire. It will never fulfill the cravings. With food, the desire can never be fulfilled except for in the moment of consuming. It is a fleeting satisfaction, a fleeting pleasure. What I am craving for is taste and the stimulation of taste and texture. Again, that comfort is fleeting. I need to create my comfort by first getting uncomfortable. These cravings will never go away if I continue to consume. I have to sit with these feelings, emotions, and thoughts. I have to address them. I have to feel them out and let them express fully so that way they expose their purpose for being here. Then I must address them by critically thinking and questioning them, listening to their responses and understanding deeper than the words they spew out, aka justifications and excuses, so that I can reason with their arguments, so that I can steer them into a corner of my conclusions where the options to choose from is either truth or ignorance. This is the battle I go through. Then it's up to me who I decide who wins the battle. The ego or my essence. Me, the middleman, is up to choose. Who will I empower? Who deserves to be empowered? Who has my best interest in mind? My essence battles hard, though is very collected with his demeanor. Usually you think the one who always proves himself and makes his statement known in every discussion would be the one to feel iffy about. But the intentions I feel from that part of me feels pure, as it expresses itself honestly and wholeheartedly, always coming from truth. The ego, though, has some incredible points, excuses. It seems, though it seems very greedy and selfish, like it doesn't really have my best interest in mind. The ego, it tells me, oh, but Brandon, you know how much you enjoy these foods. They're so pleasurable and comforting. They ease your mind, they fill your belly, and relax you for the rest of the night. You're doing great on your journey, but don't be so tough on yourself. This healing takes time. You already know you're going to fully let go of this at some point in the future, so why not enjoy it here and there? It's not like you eat cooked food every day anyways now. I mean, come on. That's a huge progress already. The ego tells me all this and more, but it sounds more like persuading. It it's like that friend you try opening up to, but they can only listen so much till either they lose interest or it starts to make them uncomfortable. So immediately they say, "Hey, why don't we let's just go to the bar, or let's order some takeout and put a movie in, that'll make you feel better." You know how that always makes you feel better, when really that's just what they want to do because they're uncomfortable. And that's how they comfort themselves when they get uncomfortable. So my ego is persuading me because that's what it wants to do. If it truly cared for my well-being and supported the goals I have set for myself, it would listen and not debate against my conclusions. It would critical think with me and help me investigate into this, but no, it will not do that because all of that makes it uncomfortable. It's being slick by making me think it has my best interest when really it just wants what it wants and could care less how it affects me, as long as it keeps me from ruffling the feathers again, keeping me trauma bonded with my ego by feeding each other's addictions and copes. Yeah, so like a lot can tie in with the ego there because it can sound loving, it can sound caring by saying, be easy on yourself, you know, um, be easy on yourself, you can't just go cold turkey, look at the progress you've already made, like boasting up my my ego, the ego itself boasting it up, like, look, man, you're doing great. You look at the huge leaps and bounds you've come across, and so you're gonna give it up in the future. Just don't beat yourself up, man. Just have it, and eventually you're gonna wean off of it. It wants me to take the extremely slow process because it feels that at some point it can manipulate me and get me fully back into with it. The longer it it the longer it um prolongs this process, the more of a chance it has to reel me back in. So it's like that narcissistic manipulative parent, or spouse or whatever that talks so lovingly and has sweet words and just wants to comfort you, um and it does it by and it they do it in every way that they know that they can reel you back in. Like, come on, Brennan, I mean, you know how much you enjoy these cooked foods. They're so pleasurable and comforting. Just remember all the times, right? Like, and so you see you still have an attachment, and but look at the progress you made. You're to the point you're not even eating cooked food every day, like, and you go such long periods without it, and then you have it, but you'll only have it like once or twice and get back. And so look at the huge difference of where you're at now versus a year ago. Like, you see the progress, it's happening, yeah, but it's been happening very slow. And I want this shit to get on the road. Come on, let's get this healing over with. Let's reclaim our wholeness. Let me reclaim my powers. And but yeah, so that's that ego portrays that narcissistic and manipulative behavior. And um and I can just see it by the way it tries to it uses its way to reason with why to fall back into habits and copes. And um so yeah, um it's crazy, man. Like, actually sitting with this and actually processing it through. I mean, I'm learning so much, and I'm learning so much about myself, because before it would stop at a shallow thought. Before, I wasn't even acknowledging. I'd acknowledge it, but then I'd go straight into denial and tell myself, no, I shouldn't be feeling that. No, I feel better. It's all in my head, and I just need to do something and, get it out. And yeah, so before, I was just distracting myself in every way. I was in denial. I wouldn't accept the truth of what I was actually going through. And, that's disrespecting myself. That's a disservice to myself, to because that's like telling a child they're lying. It's so I'm telling myself that I'm lying. Like, no, you're lying to yourself. This is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're supposed to behave. This is how you're supposed to think. So I'm like being a harsh role model on me. I'm being a harsh parent. I'm being a harsh caregiver, and so I'm not being an appropriate caregiver. I'm abusive in a way, because, well, it is abusive, because I'm I'm not acknowledging the truth of it. I'm forcing myself to behave in a certain way, and this and that. So yeah, it's that's just another level in seeing on how we just abuse ourselves, and to a point where we don't even realize it's abusing ourselves. We just see it as normal, because our entire lives we've been telling ourselves, no, we need to toughen up, no, we need to fall in line, no, we need to hurry up and catch up. And so we always saw that as loving ourselves, because we're trying to keep ourselves afloat in this never ending rush, 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 go, go, go society. And so we think of being hard on ourselves is a form of love, but it really isn't, because what are we being hard on ourselves for? For things that are superfluous, for things that we shouldn't even be focused or worrying about. And so I'm forcing myself to focus and worry about these things, and it's like, well, if that's not even something that's supposed to be in our reality, why am I making myself do these things? And so, yeah, yeah, it's crazy, because I literally I mean, I probably had to do this 3 times, 4 times today, and that's just what it is. It's been like that every day. Not every day. There's been a handful of days where the craving only came once, maybe twice in a day. Um, but uh, but sometimes it's an all-day battle, and you have to sit with it all fucking day long, and just constantly remind yourself of your why, remind yourself of the meaning behind this, remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing, and why for the why, why not to do what you've been doing your whole life. Why am I taking myself away from all that? And it's like, I already know. I've been going over this stuff for so long now, and it's like, but it's not embedded yet. It's not fully embedded. I haven't. Not only is it not, it's not more ingrained than my habits and my addictions and my mindless actions and reactions, my program instincts, my program functioning. It's not more hardwired than that is. So, but every time I say no, every time I stay committed, every time I stay determined on my path, um, it is breaking those old network connections of my programming and of my habits and everything else of the old man, right? And I'm building up this new man, not necessarily building up a new personality or a new man, but reclaiming my essence, reclaiming who I was meant to be, because who I've been who I've been playing to be is not actually me. It's been characters. And so I'm trying to shed away all the characters and get back to the main director, and who is not a character. It's, it's an essence. It's a pure um pure being, that had to shut themselves out, had to disconnect, had to disassociate with what was happening, and allow the body to survive, allow the body to go into its survival mechanism and create ways in order to cope with the toxicity and the inhumanity and the inappropriate and unnecessary demands of living in these societies. And so yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, like today I had to, like I said, I went through this probably 4 times today. I don't know if I wrote about it in my work journal, but I just started writing on it just now, because that's what I'm trying to do. I want to catch not every single one, but the majority of my cravings and all of that, because like I said in my other journals, especially my work journals, I was always writing the solution. It went again. It's almost like my mom, who couldn't sit down and actually have deep conversations. She would just be like, oh, well, we just need to do this. Oh, well, we just need to focus on this. Oh, well, we need always go into a solution, but her solution came from her limited thinking, her mind slave box, and all her solutions had to do with this world, the things which keep us enslaved and limited and addicted and all these things, and acting outside of our humanity. And so that's what I would do. When I would write, anytime I was dealing with cravings at work, I would immediately start writing the solution. And I wouldn't acknowledge what I was going through. I would be in denial. I would deny it. I would try to shift my mindset by focusing on something else. So, just another sign of abuse, not giving myself that safe space to let go and express fully, to be honest and share what I'm feeling, that it's that deep, and that's why we need to become the caregiver we've never had, because no one's going to do it for us now that we're adults. If you are an adult, no one's going to come and babysit you now. So you have to become your own caregiver, and that's how you build that trust with yourself, is by because I was explaining it to my cousin last night, because she's ready to get back on her healing. She went through 5 months she pretty much was hidden away. Like she stayed in her room. We hardly even talked, because she was heavily coping. She was heavily addicted. She was heavily trauma bonding. She was heavily, on the phone with her brother and all these things with her family still, and who were the abusers in her life. And she knew the entire time what she was doing was not facing the truth and not facing the reality of her situation, but she was just so stuck in that comfort. But it was creating a lot of cognitive dissonance. But anyways, shit, I was saying something before I got into that. Oh, I was explaining to my cousin, talking, because see, that those reactions, those instincts, to cope, to seek comfort, to seek pleasure, to seek safety, the illusion of safety, the safety which we know on how we've coped in these toxic environments. It's coming because it's coming from that hurt inner child. It's coming from that inner child, and that inner child is sporadic now. It's just it's in survival, and that's what we are until we start healing. We are a hurt, scared, traumatized, abused child in an adult body. That's what all these parents are. That's why me and my dad, we keep calling them highly scared, highly traumatized, highly abused, scared little children in adult bodies, having breeding kids, breeding slaves, breeding children, and while still being acting childish, and so that's what we are. We are children. We are still children, um, and the fact that we never got to develop our true maturity, as in who we are, as in being human, as in being authentic, and spreading true love, which is truth and authenticity and realness and honesty and accountability and things like that. Um, so what I was telling her is like how I do it, how I would talk to myself, as in a way, see, I view it as I'm acting out of those instincts and those reactions, those impulses and those urges are my inner child, because my inner child has learned how to cope. It is learned to, as soon as you feel uncomfortable, as soon as you feel threatened or anything, immediately go to this, immediately seek out this vice, immediately seek out this vice. And so it's, there's that inner adult, which I feel like is our essence, letting tell, like, we so how I go about it, I'll be like, I hey Brandon, I understand you really want to eat right now, and that you feel uncomfortable, and you're feeling uh, uneasy right now, but look, bud, these, you got to understand where that's coming from. You've been abused your whole life, you've been traumatized, and so this is why you seek out these things. You got to realize the things you're seeking out for, these vices, are damaging you. They're actually hurting you, and in the future it's only going to make things much, much worse. And and I want to show you that you can trust me by letting me make the decisions, because I'm telling you, even though you've never been able to trust an adult before, and you've always been timid and always second guess any adult that has come in your life and has told you that they loved you and that they had your best interests for you, I'm here to prove it for you, all right? And I'm going to prove it to you, but you just have to trust me. And talking, there's so many ways to talk to the inner child, but it's coming with the understanding. Look, I understand you're feeling uneasy. I understand you're seeking out a vice right now, and I understand that these vices bring you comfort, and they make you, and they bring you back to equilibrium of feeling sane and okay again. But you got to realize these things are toxic. These things are going to lead you into a world of hurt in the future. You got to realize the reason why you seek these things out is because you were abused, is because you were never given a safe space to express yourself. Brandon, let's dig into this. Why? So what made you feel uneasy? What made you and then you'll get into that. Oh, well, this brought it, and and um and then you're like, okay, that, so you see what caused it, but let's create some more options for ourselves, rather than going straight to food that's going to make you feel like shit, rather than going straight to drugs, which is going to make you feel drowsy and just take you out of your mind, and then you're going to deal with all the shame and guilt and blah blah blah. How about we stop torturing ourselves, and we start looking at all the options we have, and let's go with the best decision. Let's think through this. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you dig deeper. This is a safe space. I'm not going to judge you. Express yourself. Let me know. Tell me what is going on. Um, what happens if you don't get this vice, or like there's so much. Um, but that's literally how I go about it. I talk anytime I feel myself seeking or feeling uneasy or feeling lack or feeling bored or feeling sad. um, I talk to myself in that way because my essence, the essence is fulfilled, the essence is complete, the essence just wants this vessel to get cleaned out so it can fully express itself and just live in the flow state. But so it doesn't desire anything. It doesn't want anything but truth, fact, and reality. It doesn't want anything but realness. It doesn't want anything but honesty. It doesn't want anything but to fully express itself and be respected, for who it is, for what it is, as it respects everything else for what it is, and so forth. And so, so I know any of those emotions are coming from my hurt inner child, who is just sporadic and acting out of survival and just doing anything it can to feel safe and feel at ease and such. and and yeah, so it's reparenting that inner child, and that's the thing. It's like I don't there I wouldn't even imagine having a kid if I still had that mindset of having a kid in the future. I wouldn't even imagine having a kid. Like, this is the best practice you can go through before having a kid, because you're actually taking care of a kid who's been hurt tremendously. You're actually taking care of a kid who's went through some shit and who has seen a lot of shit and who has had to get through a lot of shit, who has survived through years of shit. And so you're actually, you're taking care of something that's damaged. And when you can take care of this inner child and and really be living in that truth and that honesty and that realness and that authenticity, I mean, that sets you up for having a kid. Now, I definitely don't condone bringing any kids into this world. It is something I will never do. I don't even I mean that that thinking right there is pretty much set in stone for me, because I just do I it makes zero sense to bring any kids into this world. It is so toxic. It is completely inhumane. The only the only good in this world is people like me who are determined to into their healing journey, who are real, who want to be real and live in truth, fact, and reality, and who want to know what true love is, and who wants to know what our real purpose and our real capabilities are in these fleshes. So yeah, so the only good thing in this world is authentic human to human connection and interactions, which is very few and far in between. Um, yeah, so, but no, this is this is the only child I ever want to have in my life, and um, and it's work. It is work. Um, but it's teaching me a lot, and it's teaching me a lot in the future. If Even if I didn't want to have a kid, if I wanted to adopt a kid, or if something happened and a kid needed to be, whatever. I'm not setting that responsibility on me, or anything, because I don't know where I'm going to be at a year from now. Who knows where I'll be at a year from now, if I even be here anymore in the US or whatever, or whatever. But yeah, just wanted to share my insights. Basically what I was saying with that was, if I were to have a kid, it would be adopted, or um, if it was like, let's say my little brother Jacoby, who's only 2 years old, if my mom just really went off the deep end or something like that, and I really felt called to do it, then I would take him in, something like that. Um, but yeah, no, it's crazy because it's like, that's not even my responsibility. My mom can keep out shitting out kids, but what does that mean? Am I just going to constantly revolve my life around feeling obligated to giving my time and attention to every kid she breeds out? Like, she can continue breeding out kids for the next 10 years, and it's like, what, am I going to keep feeling this obligation to have to put effort into knowing my sibling, and creating a relationship and doing all these things? It's like, no, it's not my fault. I wasn't born here to be obligated to um to put so much of my time and attention into my family. I didn't ask to come here, and it's not my responsibility to raise these kids, to be here for these kids. These kids are just as much family as anybody else in this world is family to me. Family, though, you know, because we're um, because on a deeper level, we're all connected. We're all, um, anybody could be my family on any sort of level. Um, that's the whole thing. Is, family isn't actually blood. Family is who is living in truth, fact, and reality, and sees you deeper than just this flesh. They see you for who you really are, and they respect that, and they appreciate that, and they they are real with you. They're honest with you. Like, that's what I'm saying. Love isn't ignoring what happened at the last family dinner and just moving past it, and moving past all the constant reoccurrences of drama and fights and such, and we just blow it off and say, oh, well, we'll just focus on how to fix it, the solution, but never, although the solution is talking about it, the solution is figuring out where you were coming from, where I was coming from, and speaking honestly and digging deep. Like, yeah, um yeah, just we've got the words love so so misinterpreted. We've misinterpreted safe space. Um we've misinterpreted what it means to care for one another. Just like I said, like, you go to a friend and you try to talk to them like this, and they're like, dude, let's just go out to the bar, forget about all this, and we'll just have a good night, and it'll fix everything. But really, that just shows they're running away from having to think deeply, and having to hear truth, and as they're listening to your truth, able to, like, correlate it with their own life, with their own experiences, and their story growing up, so it's bringing cognitive dissonance and all these things, and then immediately, because they're still they're still that inner child who's hurt and reactionary, so immediately they're like, they come straight to the solution. Let's go to the bar, let's order some takeout, let's watch a movie, let's play some games, let's, instead of saying, I hear you, I feel you, you know you're safe, continue expressing, continue talking, I'm here, I'm all ears, I'm listening. Let's get to the root of this. Let me ask some questions. Let me help you dig a little deeper on that. No, there's none of that. um, yeah, it's funny because I was always seen as the one who would have deep conversations with people, like all throughout high school. Um, if I was at a party and we were at a fire and like me and someone started shooting the shit, a buddy would come out around the corner and be like, "Man, Brandon's the man. He's the one to have deep conversations with. You start talking to him, you're gonna get into some deep topics." And it's crazy because it's like that's how I was viewed as back in high school. And like it's crazy because I could only it's like with where I'm at now and knowing what I know now, it's like, man, I wish I could have talked about this stuff back in high school. And I could only imagine the shit I was talking about back in high school. I mean, like, I acknowledged a lot of the shit. I appreciated when people could open up and talk about things, but I could only go so far, you know. It was more like, yeah, it was just so superficial, you know. It was so shallow, really. Um, and you see, it was usually at parties or at campfires, and we would always be drinking and smoking and shit. So it was like, well, looks like all we can do is make the best of it. Oh well, I'm at least happy I went through that shit because it's made me wiser now. I see everybody around me, they can't even think on this level. So maybe just going through it is just what you got to do to be able to have that wisdom. And so you just need that experience just to know. And it's like, no. So that's just how we thought. That's how I thought back then. um, Always giving gratitude to my abuse and to my misfortunes, and which is the worst thing you can do. Why would you be grateful for that? Because you don't have to go through it to know what abuse is. You don't have to be abused physically to know what that is and how bad it is. Yeah, yeah. You don't have to go through a horrible childhood to know that this world is an enslavement. Um, but that's the thing. People get coddled their whole lives. They get everything they want. They get their parents are pushovers, this or that. So they just see life as dandy. And so that's the thing that goes with the saying, like, it's easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. Because when you give somebody everything of this world and they never had to go through any of the torture or any of the see, they went through abuse because they obviously weren't getting their emotional needs met, and they weren't being treated like a human, but they were getting all the dopamine hits, they were getting all the distractions. And then when you go out and around your peers and you see in society, if you own all these distractions and these material possessions, that means you're doing good in life and that you have it all and that you're really experiencing the American dream. And so the beliefs of it make you think like, oh man, like, yeah, my life's great, yeah, I have all these things, yeah, yeah. And you have more than your peers, and you're not only are you keeping up with your peers, you're rising above them. And so that's what I mean. Like, for this healing, it's easier for a poor man to start doing it than it is for a rich man, because for a rich man, that would mean he would have to let go of all his possessions in order to start doing this healing. A poor man already has bare minimum, so he's like, fuck, I'll do whatever it takes to make me feel good, make me feel at ease. And if this healing is the way, shit, why not try it? I'm already down bad, right? But a rich man, when he's getting attention from everywhere and he's being propped up and on a pedestal and he's being thrown flowers and just treated and just got all the distraction in the world, every dopamine he wants, can get it at the drop of a dime. It's like that story with Jesus. Oh, a rich man goes to Jesus, hey, I'll do whatever it takes to go on this to get the answer. And then Jesus is like, you want the answer? Drop all your possessions, leave all your family, drop everything you know and you have, and follow me. And immediately the rich man's like, oh, fuck that. You mean I got to give up my business and my farm and all this money I have, and give up all and my nice jewelry? Like, you're saying I have to give all that up and to follow you and to get the answer? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. This is my life. This is what I've worked my whole life towards. And so it just shows, like, the all that thought process of putting that much value into those things shows how disconnected you are, shows how brainwashed and indoctrinated you are. But yeah, I know this went into many other things other than my addiction, but all those things play into it. I'm really just trying to show that how we abuse ourselves, and on such a subtle level we wouldn't even be aware of. We think we're when we're rewarding ourselves with these dopamine hits, that we're taking it easy and we're showing ourselves love by not putting ourselves in the discomfort of the unknown and all these things, when really loving yourself is upholding that personal responsibility for yourself, being accountable, being disciplined, being real with yourself, creating a space to fully acknowledging and accepting how you're actually feeling in this moment and letting it express, and then sitting with it and addressing it and thinking on it, rather than just letting it express and then on to the next thing. Actually, because that's what a caring parent would do. They would say, no, son, we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to know where it's coming from so it doesn't keep happening. My son, that you will learn in life, if you keep running away from these things, if you keep distracting yourself from these things, it's gonna keep reoccurring. You're gonna keep running into the same issues, because the only reason why you're running into this issue is because it's a belief in you, or however your operation is, something's wrong in your operation and the way you operate in life, that you're running into these issues. You're making the decisions that lead you into cause and effect. So there's something that you need to become aware of, and the only way to do that is by sitting down, talking, and being honest and digging into this. So yeah, guys, really, we gotta be the caregiver we never had for ourselves. We're the only ones who are gonna save ourselves, and so we gotta be the caregiver. We gotta be the role model we never had. And yeah, yep. Don't get discouraged when the cravings hit. I'm telling you, don't distract yourself. Now, there's times you will have to use a crutch, but it's knowing that you're using it as a crutch. You're not viewing that crutch as, you're not viewing that vice as not a crutch, and viewing it as, oh, well, this will ease my mind. This will bring me pleasure. This will bring me comfort. This will bring me sanity. It's not looking at it as the solution. Don't look at the vice as the solution. Look at the vice as a crutch for now, to help you just get through this night, and then when you wake back up the next day, you're back into it, and you can catch whatever made you need to use that crutch before it, so much, man, so much. But yeah, yeah, it is very interesting sitting with these things now and actually facing them. It's very empowering. It's very empowering, and it's very interesting. Like it's actually it's it's fun in a way, right? It's very difficult, but it's fun because it's like, especially when you get past it, because it's so fun to look back at and be like, wow, like, one, I fucking did that, like I got through it, but also like, wow, what a fucking experience to experience, like the whole, like the war of this side and this side just fucking bickering back and forth and just going nonstop. But yeah, so it's very it's quite an experience. But yeah, um, I wish empowerment to everybody, and to really consider starting their healing journey right here, right now, and full throttling into it, a full commitment, a 100% commitment, a 100% dedication to it, because tiptoeing into it isn't gonna, um, it's easy to go right back to what you're doing if you're just gonna just take a snippet of it here and there. No, full dive into it, you know. Um, that doesn't mean give everything up at once, but what I mean by full diving is by becoming aware and questioning everything and being highly observant, and observing what your urges are, and what your instincts are, and what your reactions are to situations and to experiences, and all these things, being aware of your lows, being aware of your highs, you know, um, and then starting to think more, contemplate more, step back from the noise and distractions, only limit your distractions down to the obligations you have, which is your work, and if you have kids, your kids. But anytime you don't have to focus on those things that you're obligated to do to in order, to survive at the time being, don't go out on the weekends. Don't listen to your friends wallow about their bullshit every night. Don't get on the phone with your friend who just wants to talk bullshit. Don't play video games. Step back from everything. Go in your room and lay the fuck down and observe. You know, go on a walk and observe. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Like I said, much peace, much sanity, much ease, and much empowerment onto your all's journey. And yeah, enjoy.